Titans of biblical proportions terrorize the last of humanity on Paradis Island, which cowers behind 3 towering walls. The creatures bring unprecedented devastation with an invasion that is sudden yet hardly unexpected. What could Paradis have done to forestall such a catastrophe? What measures could it have taken to minimize the damage? To answer these questions, Anime Unlimited brings to you How to Beat the Titans in Attack on Titan. Watch till the end to know why the final battle is a direct fallout of every dismal choice made by the humans. But before we begin, do like, subscribe, and leave your suggestions in the comments section if you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. Let's start from the beginning. Shiganshina, a sleepy town on Paradis, is thrown into chaos when the colossal titan appears outside its walls after a century of peace. Having been aware of this looming threat all along, it is incredulous to witness the utter lack of preparation. Multiple loopholes stick out. First, the walls, Maria, Rose, and Sina, may be impenetrable, but the gates aren't. In case of a Titan attack, a first line of defense in the form of deep trenches or moats would be extremely effective. Trapped below ground, the Titans would be sitting ducks against the military's ODM gear. What we see instead is a town enveloped in a false sense of security behind 50-meter walls for 100 years. Surveillance is lax, which explains why any suspicious activity outside the walls went wholly unnoticed. As Shiganshina falls, we question the absence of a sizable military presence on the front line. Paradis could have easily raised a large army through mandatory conscription. Regular evacuation drills would have made rescue more expedient than the clumsy, desperate efforts that unfold. But with no such failsafes in position, Shiganshina is laid bare by the Titans. 5 years go by, and the main characters, EREN Yeager, Mikasa Ackerman, and Armin Arler, join the Cadet Corps. But tragedy strikes again as the colossal titan reappears, this time in Trost. With the exception of a trench and a makeshift net to entangle the Titans, not much has changed. Having only seen pure Titans till the first invasion, the mere existence of the colossal and armored Titans should have jolted the military into action. With no investigation into their nature or counterattack plans, Paradis' incompetence is appalling. Lucky for them, the recruits are instrumental in thwarting the attack. Just when all hope is lost and the cadets face imminent death, EREN discovers the power of the Titans within him and wins humanity their first sweet victory. But with this too, we see another chink in Paradis' armor. With the game changer on their side, the military commander should have investigated EREN's past, which would have led to doubts about his father Grisha Yeager's strange arrival from outside the walls. He is found by former Survey Corps commander Keith Shadis, who keeps an eye on him, but does little else, seemingly swallowing Grisha's claims of amnesia. Talking about the Survey Corps, why is there so little push for its growth given that it single-handedly leads the charge against the Titans for much of the series? The Scouts' battle against the female Titan en route to Shiganshina is all it takes to see how this regiment should have received Paradis' wholehearted support. Thanks to Commander Ervin Smith's impeccable battle formation, the Scouts almost pull off the female Titan's capture despite having little to no information about Titans controlled by humans. This clash in the forest of giant trees is one of the finest in Attack on Titan. But as we know, the female Titan slips through their fingers and the Scouts lose countless elite fighters. As chance would have it, the revelation of Annie Leonhardt as the female Titan and the unveiling of the Titans in the wall raises more questions. Pastor Nick lets out an important clue about the Titans when he says sunlight affects their mobility. But this is overlooked by all save Hanji Zoe. Probing into Nick's religious organization and its political affiliations might have led to the Rice family and subsequently to the enigma of the founding Titan, saving time and resources and leading to a well-devised strategy to beat the Titans. Moving on, enter the Beast Titan. But before that, let's take a quick moment to like, subscribe, and click on the notifications icon. With Zeke Yeager's infiltration of Wall Rose and the discovery of the Ragako Village Titans, once again we are confronted by the dire lack of communication and surveillance. It is later revealed that Zeke might have used his spinal fluid to turn the villagers into Titans. To complete the task, he would have to scale Wall Rose. Had the wall been manned at strategic locations by guards on rotating shifts, this calamity would have been avoided and innocent lives, including Connie's mother and scout leader Mike Zacharias, spared. Soon after the miserable response to Zeke's rampage, Reiner Braun and Bertolt Hoover come under suspicion of being the armored and colossal Titans. The Survey Corps should have restrained them underground immediately. They had the time to do so. Instead, the Titan shifters are allowed to make an easy getaway with EREN and Ymir to boot. Major oversights like these led to numerous deaths, dealing a devastating blow to the Survey Corps' already depleted strength. At long last, the bigwigs make an appearance in the second expedition to Shiganshina. With a send-off the likes of which the Survey Corps has never received, they set off in full regalia to retake Wall Maria. The objective is to use EREN's newly discovered Titan hardening ability to seal the breaches created by Reiner and Bertolt in the first assault. The troops leave with such promise that we expect the mission to be a cakewalk, especially as they are under two extraordinary leaders, EREN and Levi. After the disclosure of the Ackerman legacy as Imperial Guards of superhuman strength and character, we expect a lot from Levi as well as Mikasa. But unknown to them lie formidable enemies, the Beast, Colossal, and Armor Titans, along with the Cart Titan. Regrettably, the Survey Corps are seriously outmatched in strength. Consisting mainly of recruits with no battle experience and a handful of elite officers along with EREN's peers, they are no match for the Titan shifters. After years of strife, the parity military is still next to non-existent. As war commences on two fronts, the situation turns dire. The Beast Titan accosts EREN and the recruits outside the wall. Meanwhile, EREN and his friends stand up to the armored and colossal titans inside Shiganshina. Like a game of chess, it is a battle of wits between Zeke and EREN. The least parity could have done was to give EREN and Levi enough manpower to flank Zeke and restrict his killer pitches. Such a tactic would have given Levi room to do what he does best. Despite the odds, humanity's strongest soldier almost finishes off the Beast Titan in an epic solo showdown, slashing through a wall of titans on open ground. But his heroics come at a terrible cost. To give Levi the opportunity to engage Zeke, EREN leads the Survey Corps on a desperate suicide mission. Watching the horror on the faces of the recruits on their first, and definitely their last battle, it feels like humanity has all but surrendered to the Titans. In the other battle, it is all fire and brimstone, a scene straight out of hell. A dozen or so scouts tackle the armored and colossal titans with the help of EREN's attack titan. We finally see some progress here. The brilliant Hanji has created Thunder Spears, a weapon designed specially to pierce the armored titan. With technology seriously lagging in parity, Hanji should have been given the resources to build a top-notch research and development team. More research might have made the Thunder Spears easier to wield. As it is now, it takes a team and considerable time to carry out a single strike. So with limited weapons and few men, the struggle to gain the upper hand requires too many sacrifices. While EREN's team manages to incapacitate Reiner, they end up losing him to the Cart Titan for the simple lack of a lookout. The situation goes from dismal to disastrous when Levi has to choose between saving EREN and Armin with the power of the Colossal Titan. In a dog-eat-dog world, who would you choose as your leader? A cutthroat genius or a young visionary? Perhaps Armin will be the one to breathe new life into the rotten system. And that brings us to the raid on Liberio 4 years later, where more missteps come to the fore. It is evident here that protecting EREN's mental health should have taken precedence. Subjecting him to every horror while also expecting him to shoulder the Founding Titan's responsibilities is bound to take a toll. That's just what happens. An undercover EREN gate crashes the ceremony marking Marley's declaration of war on parity. He shows no sympathy for innocent lives as he single-handedly launches a full-on attack. The manner in which he devours the Warhammer Titan using the Jaw Titan is a valuable insight into his state of mind. But his compatriots fail to notice or completely ignore this vital indication. In another terrible error of judgment, Parody decides to trust Zeke, though there is every chance this could backfire. Both decisions point to the complacency and incompetence of the administrators. What Parody needs is a complete change of management with selfless individuals in charge and a greater focus on technological development. Instead, they decide to walk the path of no return and use the Rumbling, which uses the Founding Titan's power to awaken the millions of Wall Titans and stampede the world. Of course, they only mean to play a little game of shock and awe, not obliterate all life. But who's to say EREN is of the same opinion? Having witnessed EREN's bloodthirsty and unilateral acts in Marley, Parody's immediate response should have been to take control of him, as impossible as it sounds. They could have even chosen a safer, more pliable candidate from among their ranks to be the next Founding Titan. Now we realize that suggesting to kill off the main character is highly radical, but what else can be done to prevent the Rumbling? There's no way to stop this disaster once it's been set in motion. With Grisha Jaeger putting an impossible burden on EREN's young shoulders and his country regarding him as nothing but a weapon to be used, it was just a matter of time before he snapped. An outcome that should have been apparent to all after the Libero fiasco. As the Survey Corps returns home from Marley, what essentially began as a survival story takes on political color. EREN's actions split the Islanders into two factions: the pacifists who regret the massacre in Libero, and the Jaegerists who believe EREN to be their savior. The Jaegerists are hardliners who subdue more than half the military with threats and incorporate them into one dangerous organization. Having said that, this mess didn't escalate overnight. With EREN gone, Hanji assumes the role of Survey Corps commander. A brilliant scientific brain and capable manager, no doubt, Hanji should have delegated battle duties to Levi. And what of capable officers like Dot Pixis, Keith Shadis, and Niall Dock? These heavyweight commanders would have been invaluable, but they're always relegated to the sidelines. As the infighting comes to a head, Commander-in-Chief Darius Zackley is assassinated, throwing the military into complete disarray. Prior to the rebellion, Parody had opened its doors to an anti-Marleyan volunteer group headed by Yelena, a devout follower of Zeke. It is incomprehensible why Parody would implicitly trust outsiders like Yelena. The administration also does nothing for the mental well-being of battle-scarred veterans like Flock Forster, who is easily manipulated by Yelena and EREN into joining the Jaegerists and committing to a hideous cause. When war ultimately breaks out to stop EREN from contacting Zeke and initiating the rumbling, the effort and sacrifice of countless lives through the years is reduced to nothing. EREN's founding Titan releases the millions of Wall Titans, destroying his own home in the process and setting the forbidding rumbling into motion. For this dismal turn of events, the responsibility lies not just with Parody, but also Marley. In the first instance, they should have thought that their provocation of a sleeping giant would lead to their own downfall. Unaware of King Fritz's vow renouncing war after moving his Eldian empire to Parody, Marley taunts this dangerous enemy, which is a bewildering puzzle. The Marleyan military also messes up when it entrusts children with the critical mission of retrieving the founding Titan from Parody. These children are Reiner, Bertolt, Annie, and Marcel Galliard, the Jaw Titan at that time. A mission that requires spying on important organizations like the military, church, and political parties is out of the question for children, even if they are warriors. Ultimately, Marley ends up losing Marcel, Annie, and Bertolt. With no lessons learned, the Marleyans go ahead with the next generation of young warriors. Seeking loyalty from children, that too of a race discriminated against for generations, is another impossible demand. It is understandable why Zeke grows up to be somewhat skewed in the head. In a cruel twist of fate, Marley becomes a replica of its hated enemy, the Eldian Empire. Using Titans to obliterate entire cultures, it is far from innocent. If only Marley had committed to using technological advancement and Titan research to find a way to vanquish the Eldian gene without resorting to violence, which would probably be the most effective way to beat the Titans. Every misstep by Parody and Marley, from an abysmal lack of preparation to disastrous decisions taken by an absent administration, has brought the whole world to the brink of annihilation. How would the story have played out if Parody had prioritized EREN's well-being instead of focusing solely on using his Titan abilities? What if Parody had nurtured a truly formidable anti-Titan army under one banner instead of raising a scattered force where privilege and cowardice rule? This was Anime Unlimited's take on how to beat the Titans in Attack on Titan. Time for a quick reminder. Subscribe if you haven't already and turn on your notifications for more fun stuff. If there are any points this video missed, share your thoughts in the comments below. As the anime now stands, the apocalyptic rumbling is at the world's doorstep. Caught up in a frenzied race to vanquish one Titan after another, nobody saw EREN's Doomsday Titan coming. The question remains, is it even possible to beat this mega monster?